back to Fight Night on talkSPORT with me, Gareth Davies, and him, Spencer, the Omen Oliver. Now, Mikaela Mayer, the world champion at welterweight, fights British female fighter Sandy Ryan for a second time. It's on March 29th at Madison Square Garden in New York. But before we speak to her, she's on the line. Take a little listen to this.
Left and then a right. Mikaela Mayer in control, and this one quickly ends for Mikaela Mayer.
And the new WBO welterweight champion of the world, Mikaela Mayer.
Mikaela Mayer, good evening. How are you? Are you in Las Vegas?
I'm in Las Vegas, just chilling out by the pool, enjoying my weekends.
Oh, as you do. It's cold, raining and wet here, but you just enjoy yourself by the pool. You look very well indeed. You look fit and ready for your fight with Sandy Ryan. I spoke to Sandy Ryan by text earlier today. She was driving to Los Angeles, I think. Now, you and her don't get on. We've got to ask you, first of all, Paintgate. It's been one of those bizarre stories. People have blamed you for it. How bizarre do you find it that paint was thrown on her, I think, in the hours before you fought last year? Is it an odd one for you to get your head around as well?
Yeah, I mean, I was just as shocked as everyone to hear that. I was literally upstairs, about to come out of my hotel room. They were trying to plan it because we both had cars coming in. We didn't want to run into each other. And I was waiting by the elevator to go down. And we got a text that had happened. So I was just as shocked. You know, I know everyone pointed the finger at me. Her team wanted to point the finger at me, her fans. But anyone who knows me knows that the team I came up with, that's out of character. You know, I would never go that far and try and sabotage a fight that I worked extremely hard for. And she could have very easily pulled out of that fight. So that wasn't on me. That was on what I've said before, maybe her team. You know, the way her team responded and reacted to that was a little suspicious to me. I don't know what Coach K's agenda was. I think he knew that Sandy couldn't beat me and it was a tough fight. I think he knows that me as a fighter, I'm a strong mental fighter, and I was going to go in there and give it my best. And he sees Sandy as weak, and he just didn't see her coming out on top. So I don't know what his plan was, but he was very out of character when he went backstage with her and tried to scream and yell at her and try and convince her to pull out of the fight and leave the arena. So definitely unfortunate event. I think it was uncalled for and too much, and I would never have gone that far.
If it isn't you or your team, and I'm not casting any aspersions on you doing it, obviously, I know you very well myself as well. We both do. We've known you a long time. But is that the probability that it's some crazed fan who's done it?
Listen, you know, we're both, you know, I'm an American, she's a Brit. You have some really passionate boxing fans out there. You know, I don't know. It's rumored that Sandy's not a very likable person in her hometown, which is probably why she's out here in my turf training and trying to find a team. She can't find one back in her home, but maybe it was someone who just despises Sandy. I don't know. It's honestly not my problem. People have made it my problem. I don't support it, obviously, because I worked extremely hard for that fight, and I wouldn't want anything like that to take the opportunity away from me. But yeah, it could very easily have been a fan.
Mikaela, listen, after all the dramas, we finally got the fight, and it was a fantastic fight. You both put on a brilliant spectacle. You won that fight. The rematch is now going on again. She was calling all sorts of, you know, because of what happened before the fight, you know, it affected her performance, etc., etc. So she tries to right the wrongs of that last contest. But one thing we can guarantee with you two girls is we can expect fireworks and we're going to get a fantastic fight. And that's what I love about women in boxing, that you girls are delivering all the time.
100%. You know, I consider... Okay, chill. I definitely wanted the rematch.
It's a crazed fan trying to get in or something.
Or he liked what I said, one of the two.
Shut up. I wasn't opposed to the rematch, but I wanted to see, after 2 years of trying to get my belts back, I wanted to go look at the drawing board and see, okay, what's the best move business-wise for me for the next step in my career. But, you know, we got the numbers back from that fight. They were extremely high. Everyone loved it. And, that's what I'm about at the end of the day. I want to give the fans the fight that they want to see. So people wanted to see it. The other champions are tied up. I said, all right, I never got my rematches. So I said, let me get Sandy for a rematch. And, hopefully nothing crazy goes down. She doesn't have an excuse. And I can kind of shut up the people who are saying that she wasn't mentally prepared to fight that night. So she gets a second chance.
You obviously the rivalry between you, the argumentation that she'd come into your camp and done the wrong thing, and I love all that because it ignites a fire under both of you. You're both great fighters. One of the things I wanted to ask you was, should you win this, we've got a massive all-women's fight at the Albert Hall as well between Lauren Price and Natasha Jonas. Are you targeting the winner of those two? Do those women appeal to you to fight as well?
Yeah, of course. I've always been the type, even since years ago when I first started chasing the belts, I always said I wanted to go undisputed, even when it wasn't really the craze. I wanted to go undisputed. I wanted to collect all the belts. Why not challenge yourself against the best in your division? And obviously the girls who have the belts are the best in your division. So I didn't get there as a lightweight. I did my best and I fell short. And now I'm at welterweight and I have the, I'm back in position and I have the opportunity to do that again. So absolutely, whoever comes out on top between Natasha Jonas and Lauren Price, I'm willing to, go up against and hopefully become undisputed champion by the end of the year.
Are you the fact that you starved your body of weight for a very long time? You're virtually 6 foot tall. Those extra 12 pounds must make a massive difference to you in your life from 135 to 147.
I feel amazing, and there's a part of me that wishes I would have moved up a little bit sooner, but
Agreed.
then also no, because I did what I had to do. I was in position at lightweight. Those were the big fights for me. That's where the opportunity was for me. And I did what I had to do. And so, I don't regret it. It was a rough 2 years, but, I'm a fighter and I always believed I'd be back in position, and that's where I am now. So I don't want to go back and think like maybe I should have done things differently because I'm in a good position now. I just need to capitalize on that. It's hard. Sometimes things happen and you don't realize why, and it takes a long time. And I kept asking myself, why did this happen to me? Why did this happen to me? Why did things not go according to plan? And now it's almost taken 2 years for me to finally look back and say, okay, things are falling into place.
Can I ask? Can I ask about the massive investment from the Saudi Arabians hasn't impacted on the women's side of the sport yet. Do you expect it to, and are you going to call for that as well?
Sorry. I don't know what Turkey's plan is to include women. I obviously would be 100% on board if he wanted to promote a female fight. I think there's a handful of female fights that he might potentially be interested in. A rematch with me and Baumgardner would be massive. And, even Clarissa and I have spoken about going up against each other at 154 after this year. So I think there's some really big fights that he could potentially be swayed for. But that's on him. At the end of the day, I'm just going to keep fighting and doing what I got to do. And if he wants to turn his eye and look into it, then I'm here and I'm ready.
Yeah, we've seen you over here in Britain a couple of times, and the British fight fans loved you. You come over here and you've worked as a commentator as well. You do a fantastic job at that. Are we going to get a chance to see you over here again, Mikaela?
Unfortunately, yes. I'm just kidding. I love fighting in the UK. I love the UK fans. I really do. I really do. It's been a little bit, upsetting with the few fights that I've had over there and the decision.
The scoring's been quite poor, to be fair. Like, when you're talking about the Natasha Jonas fight and the Alicia Baumgardner fight as well. Yeah, the boxing gods certainly weren't with you on those nights, were they?
They weren't, and didn't go my way. It's made me a better fighter. I can always do more and I can always get better, and I plan to make it even clearer next time. Granted, I get my rematches, but I think that since Lauren Price and Natasha Jonas are unifying the rest of the belts, they'll have 3, I'll have 1, and it only makes sense that they would get the fight on their territory. So I'm not opposed to going back to the UK, especially for big fights. I'm not gonna not unify the division and not challenge the best because of location. I've gone there. I've done it before. I have the experience. I love the fans. I think I have a great following over there. So I just have to make it more decisive.
Well, we wish you well in camp. Don't forget to bring that guitar, like I told you, the next time we see you, and play guitar at the end of your victories. Okay. You won by majority decision last time out against Sandy Ryan. I'm sure you're going to put in a massive camp ahead of March the 29th at the Madison Square Garden Theatre in New York. Mikaela, it's always great to speak to you. Thank you very much indeed. You're listening to Fight Night on talkSPORT.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.